That's so brilliant! This video is sponsored by Case Filters. As a landscape photographer who sells prints, I always try to improve my photography. I always try to get a better photographer. And one of the best methods I've found over the years is to go to places from time to time where it really hurts. Places where I struggled massively in the past, where I never got a great photograph before. Because there's always a reason why we don't get a masterpiece. And when we find out what it is, the chance is quite high that we get a portfolio shot in the end. That doesn't work all the time, to be honest. Sometimes we need even multiple years to understand the spot. And to make it even more dramatic in this video, for tomorrow I'm planning to go to a spot where I didn't get a photograph for decades. It's quite interesting also for myself, I have to say. So let's go out, let's find out why I always struggled with that particular place. If possible, let's take some photographs as well. And after that, we will meet here again to analyze the photos. To find out why I got a masterpiece this time. Also why I didn't, we will see. I have no idea. I'm so excited. My friends, a very good morning. I got up at 3:30 today, so I'm quite tired. But anyway, I'm really excited about experiencing a fantastic landscape photography adventure. And the thing is, the weather doesn't look all too bad, I have to say, when I drove here. So mid-level clouds with a little bit of gaps there, and where it gets a little bit more tighter to the east. So that's not all too good, to be honest. But we have, I think, around 1 hour and 45 minutes or so to the time where the sun goes up behind the mountains. So fingers crossed that it's possible to get a fantastic photograph here. I'm not sure, we will see. But it's so fantastic out here. It is amazing. I'm already here at the spot and it's so beautiful here. I really love this place, and I visited this place already since I was a little boy for hiking with my parents, and I also was here for hiking with my children when they were young. And what I like is there's so much deadwood. There was always deadwood. I really like it, and what I always hoped for is that the constellation of this deadwood would make any sense, so that there would be any lines or shapes, anything that leads us back there. So because when you look back there, I mean, there is not much. We have this mountain face back there, woodland, water, but there is nothing at the vanishing point. And that's the big problem here with this spot. So it would be all about finding a compelling foreground, and that's so difficult here, I have to say. It doesn't make all much sense today here. And I've never seen this deadwood making any sense here, to me, to be honest. Whenever I was here, it always changed. It's always totally different, but it also doesn't really work today. What I also know is that back there is a boat's hut. I'm not sure if you can see it. And I also like this one. It's quite special here. As it really tells the story of that place. The problem is when you look back there in that direction, it's just small. There's much of trees. We don't have all the many possibilities to go back to get any subject or any element in the foreground quite prominent in, because we have too many trees here. So this is what I really struggle with. This place is so beautiful. It is absolutely amazing. And I come here already for so long to find a composition. I never found one. I think today I found one. I think what the mistake I always did is I always looked for the big vista with the things I love. And as there's so much chaos here, I did something different. I like to photograph woodlands, and I thought more woodland. Think woodland when it gets difficult, because then I switch in another mode actually when I photograph woodlands. That's absolutely amazing. I can live with compromises. I think differently about things. My compositions get different, and I would never build up a composition like that just for a vista. We have so many overlapping elements. What I usually try to avoid, because it's better to have this seamless. No, it's not better to have it. It's you. I'm just used to that, to have seamless components back to the vanishing point. But who tells us that we need to do it like that? I made more a woodland composition here at this vista point. Yeah, that's crazy. It sounds crazy, and usually it's difficult to do something like that. And yeah, it was also difficult to do something like that. Let me show you. We have so much chaos here. We have so much dead wood here. And I mean, I like this here as a kind of diagonal. We have it more as a yeah, it's a quite steep diagonal back there. We have the boats house back there. Just a tiny bit. I don't take the entire boats house in. That's also something. I come here already for so long. I think not sure 30 years ago or so. I tried to take in everything, all the elements in a whole. It doesn't really work. I just cut it. I cut there where it adds. I don't have to show everything. The viewer knows this is a hut. I just have to cut it anywhere, and that works. What I really like is this kind of platform here. I think it's used for putting boats up. Maybe you could also, yeah, when you're the owner of the hut or so, you could also lie down there for swimming or so. But it's quite old and it's broken. It's quite a kind of, yeah, I would not say lost place photograph or so. But yeah, it has a little bit this touch and what nature does with everything. So the dead wood here, the human, the thing that got spilled by humans' hands, also a little bit damaged already there and where. What I really like is the way how the light gets caught here by the hut, here by the, yeah, this platform, by all the elements here. We have tiny gaps up there. They don't open totally, we don't need that. I just need a little bit of light to get a little bit of definition here, to get lights and shadow. I will make a black and white photograph here. And yes, the light is so beautiful. I will just go here. To be quick then to expose. Just let me tell you from the technical side, I have a circular polarizer on just to get yeah, the glare on the leaves a little bit down, also the reflections a little bit down on the surface of the water. And yeah, I would say let's make the click. The sky closes more and more, so not all many chances for getting more gaps up there. But anyway, I worked on one more composition. I came a bit closer. Before I was a bit more in that direction. Now I came even closer. The concept is more or less the same as before. I have the hut. I just cut a little bit of all elements there. It's really difficult here, I have to say. It's even more difficult than a usual woodland photograph, to be honest. But yeah, it makes fun. It makes really fun. I really like it to photograph here. So I would say, let's make the click. An important thing in photography is also always to look at what the light does. And what I get attracted by is how this chatty back there catches the light in this fantastic way. We have this bright part back there and this leads us back there. Also the foliage gets illuminated. We have soft light coming from a distance from back there, and it gets backlit a little bit, and I really like this. We have a little bit more shadow here in the foreground, and we have this nice curve back there and this hut back there, and also really fantastic. I also cut the hat, but it's also a little bit cut by the leaves. So we have this natural flame here, and it also cuts the hat, and I'm really happy with this composition. From a technical side, I use a circular polarizer, and here I try to focus stack because, as you can see, the leaves are quite still at the moment, and I would say, let's make the click. Oh man, what a morning, and the best thing of all is, this time I really got a portfolio shot. And we'll talk about that later. First of all, let's quickly go through my image you saw already, just to find out what works and what doesn't. And I would say, let's start with the second one. I like the idea of reducing the scene to the essential things, the hat, the grasses, the dead wood, the water, and I also like the contrasts. But there is one big problem with this image. There's simply nothing of interest at the vanishing point. And I mentioned that already out on location, that this is in general the problem with that spot. The advantage point, yeah, it is boring. But I simply didn't solve that problem in this image. That's much better in the third photo you saw. We have this nice flow through this image from the foreground back to the vanishing point, and this is why this image definitely works. Yeah, it's a clean composition, but there's one big problem with this one. It simply doesn't tell the entire story of that place. It's also, yeah, an okay shot, but I didn't photograph the soul of the place. And this is why also this photo, yeah, is not a masterpiece. You know, I always try for, photographing the soul of a place. This means I try to find out what it is that defines a place. This is a very personal and intimate thing. For everyone, there could be different things that defines the soul of a place. And this is also what makes it so interesting for me, I have to say. This is the integrity of the artist, actually. And you know, the integrity of the artist is one of the base requirements for getting a photo to art. And that's what I want, actually. I want to get a fine art photograph. By the way, just in case if you are interested to bring also your photography to art, I will link you a video up there where I go in detail how you can bring your photography to art. Now, for me, the core elements for that particular place are the deadwood, the hat, the water, these tight trees even, and also the woodland surrounding that lake. And all that is included in the first image I took. Very interesting is also this crack here, this shadow below that platform. For me it looks a bit like, the door to another world or something like that, maybe the door to another world or so, because what I haven't told you about this place is, this is not any lake. This is that lake where the Nazis put all their gold in the end of the Second World War. It got never found because, there's too much of sludge on the ground of that lake. So maybe this is that crack, how to get to the treasure. We don't know. Again, the integrity of the artist is a very personal and intimate thing. Someone who doesn't know about that fact with the treasure, with the gold, he will never see something like that. He will see something different. But for me, this was simply the reason why I emphasized that crack that much in this composition, and it really works for me. So all in all for me, that's definitely a portfolio shot, and I'm so excited about that. Again, it doesn't work like that all the time. There are some places where we really bite out our teeth or so, because there's anything that blocks us. Important is just to get there again and again and again. And comes time, comes photograph. For this image here, the solution was simply to get away from a typical architecture of a vista composition and more to work on a woodland composition at a vista. Sounds crazy, is crazy, but it worked. all I did is I accepted to use more of a figure ground architecture, what I usually try to avoid at vistas. So I think the most important tip for difficult places is actually forget everything you have learned about photography. Just think, how can you express that place with just one photograph? Don't limit yourself, by your own principles or something like that. And ultimately, this is how to photograph the soul of a place actually. Yeah, it's crazy. There is so much of chaos in this composition, but it anyway works. And by the way, interesting is also, this is not my typical landscape photography style. It remembers me more, to the painting style of my grandfather, to be honest. And this was not planned. It just happened as I engaged quite a lot with his paintings over the past years. Yeah, there is so much photographers can learn from painters. It is mind-blowing, and I made already an interesting video about that with lots of tips, especially for photographers, and I will link it here for you. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. If yes, please give me a thumb up. Don't forget to tune in next week. There will come a fantastic video as well. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.